I would advise you, first of all, to get the supplement that was in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago on Sunday about the meeting organized in Texas by the Helena Foundation that brought together more than 500 Americans of all races, genders, sexual identity, political philosophies, and organized them in 6 workshops, and they were stunned. The people who had the meeting thought that they were organizing a food fight. And they were stunned at how interested people were in each other and how they came around, how some of the most conservative members of this group, for example, wound up supporting a public option in health care because they realized there wasn't an affordable option for good, decent working people, and that everything they'd been told ideologically about the health care law was simply factually not true once they talked to these people. And that a lot of people who thought they were on the left understood there were practical problems with throwing 500,000 people who work in health insurance out of work overnight and figuring out what to do about building a whole new system while you've got people who are still getting sick every day and they need health care. I mean, and I would go to the people, the interest groups and the information ecostructure are aggravating the polarization of America. More and more personal contact can be used to recreate the conditions of the Supreme Court chamber when they're in the back rooms talking about these cases. We are much less polarized than our politics because we don't vote our common sense often, because we are messed up. Our brains literally get rewired when we hear all this garbage just flooding all over. And it's not just the social media. It's hard to keep a newspaper going today, unless we're very lucky in Washington to have a billionaire on the Washington Post. They can afford to be an old-fashioned newspaper. Almost nobody else can. You have to sell online ads, and the number and price of your online ads depend on how many clicks there are on your stories, and that will determine whether your story gets on the evening news, either in your market or if you're a national paper on the national market. The whole thing is geared toward turning 3-dimensional people and 3-dimensional problems into 2-dimensional cartoons. That's what you have to beat. In 2018, we had interesting candidates and pretty fair coverage. Just people, they were inherently interesting. They were new, they were different, and we got a pretty good result. And the Democrats lost a lot of close races as well as winning a lot of close races. But the House now much more reflects, I think, where the American people are on most issues. And that's my advice to you. You go to the people and don't let anybody get in the way of you and them. And just tell them when they start to get mad, scared, and stop thinking that as my mother taught me as a little boy, anybody who tries to make you mad doesn't want you to think, therefore they're not your friend.
Whoa.
Don't have people, if you want to run for office, make people believe you're in it for them, and you are not going to let anything take the election away from them. That's my simple advice.